on. We're going to be having Flurry versus Tyler, and Tyler has sprinkled a little bit of spice over this weekend of Asia Pacific Grandmasters as the only player over this side of the world, I guess, that is bringing Rogue, which is very, very different. But do you want to explain why Rogue is here and why regions such as the Americas and Europe are bringing it this week?
Well,
Direct side.
Well, first of all, the reason why it's been absent for 3 weeks, hiding in the shadows, has been because, I think primarily, Warrior, horrible matchup, I think we can all agree. Druid, not a great matchup, to be perfectly honest, I think. If you can cheese out an early Edwin, you're in a fantastic position. But I feel like even in the most aggressive forms, Rogue struggles to actually get the kill before turn 6, before the Hidden Oasis comes down. And also against the Shaman, I feel like it struggles too much in terms of board control. The heal that comes from the Life Drinker is way too much. Because of all those reasons, and because all those decks are still very popular, honestly, I don't know why Tyler is still going for the Rogue here. I don't...
Do you not know why everyone else has done it either? I'll say everyone else. There are Rogues in other regions this week.
I guess people are starting to think it does decently well against Priest, or maybe they think the matchups were misrepresented in the first case. Like, you know, you could definitely make the argument in a deck that runs Edwin, Hench Clan Thug, SI7 Agents, Dread Corsairs, it's favored against Druid. I would hear that argument out.
And what's really funny is in other regions, for example, there's a lot of mage. There's none here. So it means that with one of the old, if you wind all the way back to even Season 1, Rogue was, one of the reasons it was so good was because it could be absolutely savage against Mage. It could just put on so much early pressure, and then one sap, you know, one good turn, and the Mage is just dead at that point. So, you know, you can see that. And in other regions, there are way more Mage, and it's easy to have way more when there's 0 in APAC, which means that you know, there's a lot more open space for Rogue to get good. And Tyler, one, I feel like has a different haircut every time we see him, which is pretty cool. But also just maybe he's thought that other people would have the read that Mage is a bring, and then they just didn't. I mean, if he wins, we can ask him, because I'm very interested.
And also, if you spin it differently, you can make the argument for how it's favored against pretty much every matchup. Because against Shaman, they have a little bit of healing, but they don't have much. They have basically no taunt in the deck as well. So maybe against Quest Shaman, if you just play all your stuff, launch it all directly to the dome, it can get there.
I will say as well, I actually don't fancy Rogue as a Hunter player in that matchup as well. I actually fear Rogue because they can do stuff better than you. They kind of do what you want to do, but better. And your secrets do not get the value that they do in a lot of the other current meta matchups. So, you know, again, if there's a nod that Hunter's really good, well, if you bring Rogue, then I'll never argue with that one, because I'm with it.
Yeah, it feels to me like ever since Hunter switched away from like pure aggro face Hunter way back in the day, Rogue has just kind of always been favored because the damage hasn't been enough to kill the Rogues. And they're just the kings of early board control.
Yeah, it's tough. But anyway, this is Hunter versus Warrior, not Rogue. Maybe we'll get to Rogue a little bit later on. But both players 6-6. So again, it's just all on the line. It's like, it's insane. And yes, these players will not be relegated, so that there's a certain amount of pressure off, which must feel fantastic, honestly, coming into the last week. But you also don't want to be, oh, I'm okay missing out at playoffs. No, these players are competitors. They want to get there. They want to get to playoffs. They want to get to the global finals.
That's right, especially as it feels like Tyler, his mindset has flipped. We've seen good character development from Tyler.
It's a good story arc.
Exactly, a very good story arc from Tyler here. And it didn't take 500 pages to get going, unlike some other character arcs that I could mention.
Or 8,000 episodes.
Yes, because for Tyler, at the start, even when he wasn't doing that badly, he was already saying, you know, I just want to avoid relegation. It's all I really care about. I want to do good enough. Honestly, he was focusing on other games at the time as well. Now it feels like this is a little bit of a return to form for Tyler. He's actually practicing. He's not making these stupid mistakes that we saw from him in previous weeks. And at a 6-6 record, he absolutely should have his eyes set on going through to the playoffs.
The second you know relegation's not on the cards, like I said, huge relief. You know, it must feel great, but I think the second you know you shouldn't be relegated, you should be disappointed if you don't hit playoffs. Because that's just it. I don't think any of these players deem just not losing everything as a positive outcome for a tournament like this.
Bit of a horrendous few starting turns here for Flurry, though, with obviously the Huffer dying off, and now the Hyena. Pick your poison, really, as for how Tyler wants to deal with this.
I forgot about this spice in Tyler's Warrior as well. Have you looked at his hand?
With the synergy being Omega Assembly?
You don't see the true synergy? Let me just check that it's there. 1 sec. I'm just going to double check.
No, I don't see the true synergy.
Weapons Project.
Oh.
That's a lot of armor versus Paladin.
I guess so. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
And I guess Shield Block as well.
Yeah, Shield Block,
Shield
Weapons Project is like...
Fair play.
Because you don't care about the Paladin's armor, right? Mm. If you can gain 12 with 6 mana, gain 12 health, that's pretty solid. Derek is unconvinced.
Over frightened flunkies? Do we really prefer that? Is that where we're at? I'll play ball. I'll play ball.
Look, if it's going to spice up a warrior deck, Derek, I'm in. I don't care. You could put any card in there.
Okay, count me in.
Yeah, there we go. Nozdormu, perfect. Chuck it in. These mirrors will speed up one way or the other. But in the meantime, we are stepping and striding towards turn 6 here for Flurry. Doesn't have the best turn. Ugh.
Yeah, he's been holding on to this Zephyrus for a long time now.
I don't know. Maybe I play Zephyrus way too aggro. I just play it to get more stuff to play and hit them in the face with.
Honestly, the way that Blood Trail's played it, I don't know if he had it in his brain that he was saving it for exactly Harrison to take out a weapons project, or sorry, a Super Collider. But honestly, I thought that was really inspired. I actually really liked the way he played that because he was missing cards, and what he played got him cards. And honestly, it's surprisingly difficult to manipulate Zephyrus into giving you card draw, even when you're at only 3 or 4 cards in hand.
Yeah, I guess the crossing point for me, as we're about to see Zephyrus come down, I'll get back to my point in a second. I guess you just pay in hero power.
I think I'd probably like to pay in this.
Because also the spell gets put in the pool. Oh, he's got okay. What? Wait, what's his secret? I forgot.
Snake.
Okay. But my point being was, I think when I wanted to see the Zephyrus play did that Hunter match earlier, was way before Super Collider was even played. Which that's the crossing point. If Super Collider's been equipped on 5 and you go, oh, in 2 turns I can just draw 3 cards. Yeah. Great, you know, fine. But I think I wanted to see it before then to just pile some pressure on. And obviously, you can't make an informed decision about a 1-of in your opponent's deck before it's even been played. Because all I see really is a 3-2 and an Animal Companion that you've not played in this game that you want to deal damage to their face.
Yeah. I think like this turn, I really like seeing it come down from Flurry. Because he's stopping doing anything. It's just not enough stuff that he's playing down.
I was thinking some of the silly plays. Warpath Archmage. You're like, what does that even do? Don't know, but it's Archmage.
Gets the synergy.
Yeah, we have these effects going on. Imagine if there was a spell. And this is probably a design choice, isn't it? A spell that shuffled a bomb into your opponent's deck.
I'm still convinced that, I mean, I've had no information that indicates this. That has to have been what Dr. Boom's scheme originally was.
Shuffle bombs?
Shuffle bombs. And then Shaki walks into the room.
Are you crazy? Do you know what you can do with spells in this game?
This will literally break the game. Make it garbage instead.
Make it literally the worst and best card in the game instead.
Yes, sir. That's my impression of Peter Whalen there talking to Shaki.
I thought it was TJ, and you're like, why are they having a talk in like the break room or something?
Light the fuses!
I don't think we see enough of Chucky, by the way. Get him on.
I agree.
He's always in the shadows, playing the other side of the board in the the card reveals and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's get him in front of the camera.
But it's only because he has so completely and utterly disappeared from the earth that I am even allowed to make memes. If he so much as graced the earth with the hint of a meme, I would just tunnel into the ground and never appear again. It would be so embarrassing. He is the one true meme god of Hearthstone.
Oh, okay, this is just a good Harrison as well coming down here. No shield slam. Okay, well, there's technically a shield slam, but my meaning is no shield slam to actually kill off this minion. Is just a tad unfortunate. Like, if Tyler had just one more armor, that turn would have been nuts. I do like this kill command from Flurry here. Kill off this Harrison, open up more damage, some more awkwardness to keep this 5-5 on the board. And I like the Ursatron here. Normally I'm a fan of getting the secrets live, but I think Ursatron Hero Power is fine, because at worst you're expecting Boom. If you're expecting Boom, hit him harder, and it's not going to be a spell, and I don't know what spell you really expecting to have impact.
Yeah.
So why use your mana, right? This isn't a lot of other matchups where at any moment a spell could be played with board. Like, one, Tyler's not got minions, and two, I don't think there are particularly spells that he's going to have minions for.
Absolutely, and I also want to see Flurry prepare for the stronger play next turn, when I think Zul'jin's probably not quite strong enough yet to be going for, unless he's in a very desperate scenario. So getting down the Ursatron to set up for Snip Snap next turn, or Zilliax, feels...
What now?
So there's a kind of a weird play. Super Collider, Hero Power, Shield Slam trade. Would get the job done, I take 3.
There's the god play of Archmage Shield Block Shield Slam to take out both minions.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I think Super Collider, after seeing Harrison's... oh no, hang on, what we're talking about, Tyler played Harrison.
Yeah. Well, after seeing Zephyrus as well, it's also
that, yeah, okay, that's better, yeah.
And I like this as well for Tyler. Like, he could have gone for Archmage Shield Block, but I would much rather see that on an empty board, because the real thing that Warriors have been missing in this matchup isn't removal, it's just been that armor gain, which is why I like holding on to every point of health totem so avariciously.
And honestly, it's one of those points where I know there are plenty of people, I think Sol maybe #1, that doesn't overly enjoy like tech cards for specific decks. But honestly, like a 4-mana 2/6 just isn't the worst card in the world. And then if it literally just wins the Paladin matchup, and the amount of people we see play Holy Wrath Paladin, I'm alright with it. I'm alright with it. Oh, this is a card I like.
Yeah, honestly,
Big fan of Jaime.
I am fine with it. He hasn't cut any of the cards that I regularly hate seeing be cut. Like Devastators, you could argue I would probably rather still have a Devastator than a Vargoth, I think. But he's got the 2 Dynamatics, which a lot of players are cutting. It obviously means he's got 2 weapons projects as well, which I really like at the moment.
Yeah. I'd honestly just love to know the difference it actually makes in practice. You know what I mean? Like, is Tyler just like 10-0 in Warrior versus Holy Wrath? Or like, 8-2 or something stupid because of exactly Archmage? Which, if it is, then you know what? Fine, play it.
Fair enough.
Whereas this one, though, again, you start to just see difference in Hunter decks. I believe Samuel Sal wasn't running a high main. So this threat just doesn't exist in that Hunter versus this one.
That's it. It's a pretty big difference.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Good Slime Roulette.
Well, no, because Pressure Plate just triggered, which was not necessarily just wrong, because for Tyler, if it was Freezing Trap, maybe he wants the Pressure Plate to activate because he wants it to go on that instead of something else. I'm being very generous here, though. I think that was just a mistake from Tyler.
Yeah, I think Tyler just didn't click.
Yeah.
It just didn't go, oh yeah. Because Pressure Plate is actually one of the easiest ones to forget about in a deck like Warrior.
Yeah.
Because it's not often you have the board and you have spells that don't also interact together. So it's kind of an easy one to forget about. But he shouldn't be forgetting about it, and especially when a card's as key or as impactful as Vargoth.
Yeah, it is wrong.
It's
just a silly mistake. And he has to take another 2 damage for it. Or 3 damage? Yeah, 3 damage, I think, overall. But either way, the board's cleared. He's still very much in the lead.
Even potentially, though, because he still could have shield slammed his own Vargoth.
Sure.
It would, like, the shield slam doesn't remember targets. Or the Vargoth doesn't remember targets, should I say. And now, though...
I think Flurry, honestly, quite rightly here holding onto the Zul'jin, because until he hits the Unleash the Beast, of course. I think it's just not quite doing enough.
The more I play, or the more I especially watch this matchup, the more I think it's just always hard mulligan for Subject 9 and Unleash the Beast. Because they're literally your two best cards.
If Subject 9 is just insane in this matchup.
It's the best card in the deck anyway. It like makes the deck work.
Ball Control's old meme that it's UI for 5 mana. It's honestly not that far off the mark in this matchup.
Yeah. You can draw what? 6 cards?
5-6 cards?
Yeah, easily.
It's better than UI. UI is garbage.
And it's a beast, so it has synergies.
Oh.
Problem is, though, there's always that tipping point, isn't there? Where the longer Flurry doesn't play Zul'jin and has bad turns, the worse the game gets anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird point where Flurry's flowing 6 mana as Hunter feels absolutely horrible. Tyler is making active plays on the board. And now, oh, that's a good one. There we go.
How many secrets does he have left?
He has a few.
Oh, he has a few. Okay, fair enough. 3 is more than enough.
Yeah. I mean,
Just to
one,
be thinning the
it
deck.
gets to his bad cards like Unleash the Beast, but also Rat Trap, Snipe, and Freezing are actually 3 of the best
bad,
ones in this matchup.
I was wondering there if Tyler should have gone for Archivist Elysiana over Hero Power, but I guess because it was the drone to discover is probably worth avoiding it.
Press the button.
7-7. Yeah.
Well, that's a good one. No real punish for checking the secrets here. I think it's much better to get this information right now when the game could be really grabbed hold of for Tyler and he could just secure it.
Yeah.
Than it would be for saying, oh, actually, I'm just going to pass and just do this. It's like, no, just do stuff. I mean, he could just play Coppertail Dynamatic, right? Go face with a 2-2 and say, enjoy your 1 turn of life.
That would activate Rat Trap, which he probably has to be pretty aware of. He could, of course, trade it into it to kill it off there, which honestly actually isn't that bad.
I'm also just wondering if he's bothered. He's on 37 health. Like, the drawback of activating Rat Trap is it gets recast if Flurry has Zul'jin. But if Flurry plays Zul'jin, I'm pretty sure you just win. Oh.
I think this like locks out the ways that maybe you lose. No, I think you're right. I think no matter what happens here, Tyler should be in a very good spot.
Freedom Track going to come down to try and do something.
Easy breezy clear though here for Tyler. I mean, honestly, he's, if anything, just trying to move towards lethal a little bit quicker.
This would be a good time for a master plan.
Oh,
Okay.
now we're talking.
You know what to do.
How much is it then? 9 damage, I think? With if you include the swing of the weapon. But of course, freezing trap.
Oh, right. I was going to say,
Counter
well, I don't add up, I add up to 9. 8, sorry, but I was counting the freezing trap, of course. The Wargear going on the bomb, very important, because it means that, 1, spreads damage around, but also it means that if the threat's killed, it does even more damage to Flurry, which is just a no-win scenario. It's the Kobayashi Maru, that's it. Yeah, Tyler takes game 1, there we go.
It's a good reference.
It is. I just couldn't remember the name for the life of me. My fault. I ruined it. Could have been great, but it wasn't. Story of my life. But that's going to be game number 1 there. Tyler taking a win. And again, we see Hunter, I feel like, feels like it struggles, because even though it won earlier, it wasn't the smoothest win in the world. It was literally Bran off the top to get there, and some a lack of armor gain from Surrender. but not getting the job done again, and maybe we have to take a look at why. But we're going to go to a quick break while we set up game number 2 between Flurry and Tyler. We'll be right back.
We've created a new home for all things Hearthstone Esports for both desktop and mobile users. From the homepage, you can find the latest articles, scores, and VODs. And from the navigation bar, you can find so much more. Here's how it works. Under the Grandmasters tab, you can view competitor profiles. Here you can see a player's top classes, recent decks, and watch their most recent series. You can also access the standings from this tab to help you understand where each player is in terms of playoff contention or relegation. On the schedule page, you can check the dates and times for every part of the Hearthstone Masters program. This includes the full calendar of Masters qualifiers, Masters Tour event pages, and the weekly schedule for Hearthstone Grandmasters. Looking to try your hand at the decks the pros are using? Simply click the eye on a Grandmasters match to see submitted deck lists. From here, hit the purple Copy Deck Code button and open Hearthstone to your collection. Then, create a new deck and simply answer the Create from Clipboard prompt in the affirmative. Finally, the News tab will show you Hearthstone Esports news exclusively. Dive into interviews with your favorite players and check back every so often to see what you've missed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the tavern.
Flurry versus Tyler coming up game number 2, and yeah, Flurry's Hunter just didn't get there, and again, maybe the deck list needs to change, but I feel like it's getting pretty common where we're saying, oh, Zul'jin's not so good here. Oh, Zul'jin's not so good here. Yeah, it's still not good here. And that's a problem, right? Remember the days when you just snapped Zul'jin just to play it? But I guess that was in Mid-Range Hunter, or Beast Hunter, I guess, when there was 2 of every spell, or mostly 2 of every spell in the deck, which means twice as likely to draw Animal Companion, Unleash the Beast, Dire Frenzy especially, but so on, so on. So it means that although you don't get the secret package, your Zul'jin is way like up here in power level compared to the Highlander version. And I think it's one of those weird cards now. It's like a card that's not necessarily mind-blowingly good and consistent, but it's a card you can't really not play, right? It's just one of those weird spots. Maybe even like Blansamdi.
Yeah.
Some people would argue that it's not a good card in the deck because you don't want to play it because you want to have won by that point, but you can't not play it because if you do need it, you literally just need to have that in your back pocket.
Yeah, I think it's one of those cards that also scales very well with the how quickly you want to play it to what matchup you're in. Because up against the aggro decks, you can generally play it pretty early, and if it just does like one or two things, it's good enough. And against Warrior, you should have the time to get it down. But that match that we just saw, I think, is very much indicative of how I would have expected that matchup to generally go, but isn't the way it's been going in Asia Pacific, where there are a couple of things that went very nicely in favor for Tyler. They're discovering a Ziliax was huge. The Vargoth worked out very nicely.
Yeah.
Bit of extra card draw and armor gain off of the shield block. And also, just the fact that Flurry missed any and all card draw and, was lacking a couple of the big cards. He got most of them, to be fair, but it was really just the brand.
You know what the problem, or the big failure of Hunter right now, before we move on to this game, of course, is when you draw your secrets before Subject 9. Because it's not only that you've not drawn Subject 9, it's the fact that if you just never drew Subject 9 but drew 1 or 2 secrets all game, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it's okay. If you draw your secrets and don't draw 9 or draw it afterwards, then all of your draws have been bad, capped by a bad draw at the end, which means that you are missing Unleash the Beast, the animal companions, the hyenas, and so on, because you're drawing all these secrets. So it's just kind of awkward. But anyway, I could talk about Hunter all day, and one day I actually might. But for now, we're going into game number 2. Tyler 1-0 up versus Flurry. Flurry on the Warrior, and now Tyler on this Priest.
Tyler, already with the kind of mini quest that you have up against Warrior of when they play Town Crier, get a minion above 6 health before they can play the Mummy on turn 4. And Tyler feels like his best chance of doing that is with this, the Injured Blade Master, which makes a lot of sense, obviously, right? You can go for a value trade here, heal it up with the Nephicet, then go for the Beaming Sidekick as well. It's a very big amount of health to get on the board, and he's completed the mini quest.
Yeah, it makes sense because there's exactly Nephicet, right? And I guess a part of it, you could argue that even if there wasn't Nephicet, the Tolvair plus Sidekick would create enough of a barrier to guard the Blade Master. So, not strictly reliant on Nephicet, but Nephicet obviously fantastic. And is Tyler not trading?
He doesn't have to, because he has the Beaming Sidekick, of course. And he's very possibly afraid of Shield Slam as well.
That's true.
Which is, I think, part of his thinking. Because if he plays the Nephicet Ritualist here and goes Beaming Sidekick face, it's at 9 health, so even with the 1 attack minion and the Restless Mummy, it can't be taken out. And, potentially, it means that Shield Slam can also not take out the minion there. Not sure if we're having some kind of spectator issues here for Tyler, but we'll
there we go.
Get that sorted out as soon as possible.
Oh, he is going to trade, okay. So this does open up Shield Slam. Yeah, I actually quite like that. Your explanation of, because to me it felt weird not to trade. It's like, wait, why would you trade? That's just good. You effectively like gain health, kind of. But like you said, it does mean it's susceptible to Shield Slam.
Yeah. I hope Tyler's all good and ready to go.
I think he's all right. He finished a completely valid turn.
He did a fine turn, yeah. And now it starts getting difficult for Flurry because, obviously, if he goes for Restless Mummy on this turn, he could take out 2 of the minions on board. Fine. That's not a bad turn. But then if Tyler was to go tall with this 1 Blade Master, Flurry is left without an answer because he cannot just go Plague of Wrath next turn. And so therefore, maybe he goes Restless Mummy into the 2/3 and then once into the Blade Master, just so that it requires more healing than a hero power can deliver to be able to get it back up to full health. And therefore, next turn, pretty much no matter what, or outside of a circle of healing, he would be able to take it out with a...
With the same mindset, I was actually thinking about this play.
Okay.
Because it still requires double trade.
That's true, yeah.
Outside of exactly Pyromancer, but if Pyromancer comes down, that also damages the Blade Master.
So this perfectly sets up for
exactly, yeah. So it's completely the same what you were saying, though, about you want to set up a plague in the following turn.
This is smart.
Yeah,
this is very
like
smart. It does have arguably a punish with this line of play. But if the outcome is you get to do the plague anyway, it's not really a punish.
Because you punish by pyro that
which
forces
damages
a plague.
the minions. Yeah.
So yeah, this was
really smart by Flurry.
This was called a good play.
This was a very good play.
And I think Flurry now just has to not get fancy or greedy. He did the nice play. Now just play. Playing it all away. Just don't try and be like, oh, well, maybe I can get away with this. You can't. You're against Priest. You'll die.
Yeah.
There is backup, though, for Tyler. Just that one clear doesn't mean Tyler's out of the game whatsoever.
Hey, I got you, friend.
Still got that Divine Spirit, and now he's seen one plague means that, you know, every extra minion now is progressively safe. Because even a brawl, you can win. You know, we've seen brawls be won by Priest and then the game ends. So
that's it.
It's not plague. It's just a hard no-no in terms of like continuing the game on that board.
Yeah, there are situations where I like brawl, and there are situations where I don't like brawl. Like after one Samdies come down, it's just a bunch of 1/1s. That's a brawl. One mana minions. That's a brawl I like because it there's no terrible outcome. It's just clearing off most of a board. Whereas if it's one big minion and a bunch of small minions, those are the brawls I usually don't like, just because I feel like if you've got into that position, your win rate should be so much higher than the 20 or 30% you're giving them.
Right. Just imagine now the old guy of The Simpsons. Loads of 1/1s. That's a brawling. Early game could lose. That's not it.
That's a play game. Been rewatching some of the old Simpsons too. Get
really?
some memes a rolling.
I didn't realise
So
how
good. I missed it.
how I won't say bad because it wasn't bad, but it's like the original episodes, the animation, and you know, that is
it's rocky.
It is lackluster at best.
Yeah.
But like I said, not bad for the time. You just realise, well, I don't know what season it was, but there was one season where it went from like early 90s to like, oh.
Well, it's when they got on all
ages.
the good writers, right? Like the golden age, where they had Conan. That's where it hit stride.
This is also in its stride, as that is a rather large injured Tolvain that has been in recovery.
Injured Swolve ready to go. And these are the kind of brawls that I said I didn't like at all, but maybe, just maybe, Flurry is forced into. Because even if he bridges the gap over to turn 10, a Mega Devastator doesn't even touch this bad boy.
Is it ever a Ziliak's turn?
I am definitely considering it.
Ziliak's this turn, Brawl the next turn if you need to, Devastator the turn after. You know, try and make that kind of step-by-step guide.
I think the argument against Ziliax would be that you are you're going to have to go for a brawl eventually, so you may as well go for it first and then go with the Ziliax afterwards to shore things up. As with the 3 out of 4 outcome, this was very likely to happen. And I think for Flurry, saying I have a 75% chance to win the game,
There we go.
perfectly reasonable there.
Can't argue with that. I like Flurry's play. I honestly think that play with the mummy was just the
Spot
play
on.
that won the game. Like I said, I was looking at it originally, and it just gave the silly things would have to happen, like Pyro, double spell to kill the Pyro off, circle of healing, just to defend the Blade, just to defend the Blade Master, which you're never going to make those plays. I'm not even saying this is a negative to Tyler whatsoever, because you would never make a play that extreme to defend just a Blade Master.
Yeah.
But in doing what Flurry did, he actually lined it up very, very well, which made him actually be able to just clear off the board, guaranteed, down to that plague. So really impressive play from Flurry, and we're going to be moving on to game number 3.
We are indeed. The win being taken by the Warrior there, which is obviously a very big deal. But it does mean that Tyler still has his Priest rocking and ready to go. And so I wonder what we'll see Flurry in response. I would have to imagine it's probably going to be the Hunter yet again, because that feels like to me it's the best against the Priest.
But the Rogue, though.
Wow.
I'm thinking, yeah, Tyler just had confirmations on the Rogue. I was thinking about this because this is a bait
pretty
and
smart.
switch.
Yeah.
It's a bait and switch. I like this, and we're going to see now whether Rogue, the old-timer, is going to make the comeback here. It's crazy. Do you remember, what was it, like a couple of months ago when Rogue was so busted, it just had to get nerfs? It was, it was week 1 of GM Season 2, right? Like nearly everyone brought Rogue because it was so broken. It took nerfs. Everyone still brought it for the rest of the season anyway, but it has been kind of left by the wayside now, mainly because its expansion cards weren't the most mind-blowing things I've ever seen. But I think the cards before that, Waggle Pick, and stuff like are still just good enough, right? If you can play Hench Clan Thug and Waggle Pick in a deck, you're probably doing something right.
Absolutely. It was just 2 expansions in a row with Rastakan's Rumble and then Rise of Shadows, where they got, first of all, the raiding party, which was just so insane.
Every time!
And then, yeah, well, it comes to that at the end. That's the final chapter in the good cards for Rogue. And then in the Rise of Shadows, they, of course, got Evil Miscreant and all that goodness. But Generous Mummy here is...
Honestly, though,
less what you're
if there's a matchup you play it in, I think it's this one.
Really?
Yeah.
It's all right.
Think about all the, think about how weird the Hunter curve can be. Derek's making a weird face.
I just... It's
what's
so bad.
What's he gonna play?
That's the thing.
What does Hunter play now to punish this? Honestly, Deadly Shot. Well, that's to punish it.
Yeah.
I'm being serious.
I think it was probably the correct thing to do.
It's not horrible. It could be better. But remember, it's got Reborn as well, so
it's very difficult to
even though your cards cost 1 less, Flurry still only got 3 mana. He doesn't gain 100 mana as well.
Is this just a value trade freezing trap turn?
Or trade kill command.
Is this better than freezing trap?
I mean, yes, I think so. Because it gives you an additional turn of cheap spells.
Good point. Yeah.
Cheap cards, sorry, not cheap spells.
Yeah. I guess you just take advantage.
For some reason, even though I know what the card does, I just still get locked when I talk about it to think it reduces spells by 1. But yeah,
there's not much that reduces the cost of, or increases the cost of minions.
Yeah, you take some damage here, but he has follow-up. Next turn he has a turn, though. He has a pretty good turn.
With what?
He could, with Hyena, kill command, and freezing.
Fair. That's pretty good. But of course, Tyler, with his keep of the Myra's Unstable Element, has in his own right some pretty strong turns coming up. Every time he's inefficient with cards here, it's honestly kind of good for him because it just clears up more space in his hand.
Side note as well, Tyler's not playing Nomi. I know there's some, I can't remember who in America's. Someone's playing pretty much this list, but Nomi because they have the backup after Myra's, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not the case for Tyler's list. He's just playing the Get 'em Rogue.
Tyler saying, you ain't got no Ziliax here, and he's rewarded for it. And I think this was correct to go face because even if there was a Ziliax here, he's got the sap to be able to just sap the...
Also got Backstab, got SI. Honestly, this Mummy, I am not saying this card is good,
it was good here.
If you play it early enough against a deck that has kind of clunky mana numbers, especially a Highlander deck because the hands aren't that consistent, then yes, their cards cost 1 less, but as we've seen, Flurry only has 3 mana.
Yeah.
If he has a 6 mana card, it costs 5. It doesn't make a difference. He can't play it. So, and it's a 5/4 with Reborn. It's pretty savage. And Tyler could easily still lose this game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's won because of this Mummy, but all I'm saying is he ain't in the worst spot I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's right. Flurry being able to find Ziliax 50% of the time with the Ursatron is obviously huge in his effort to try and stabilize the board. Now, of course, he's thinking this is quite enough of this now. You've had your fun here, Generous Mummy. It's time to go back to the hand.
Deck hand comes out now. He's like, this Mummy's never going to die.
Stop being so generous.
But funnily enough, this means he now can't play Unleash the Beast next turn.
That's true.
Haha! Mummy's a genius! Look at just more and more damage stacking up. This is a little bit scary. I think I like the swing to face. Doesn't change anything, does it?
Potentially it does. If he wants to go... If he ever wants to go Myra's next turn, he would want the weapon equipped so that he can go for 0 mana Dread Corsairs, is something to consider. Okay. Because Myra's is a very low tempo turn, so you want to be able to regain the tempo. And I think because of that, I do actually like holding onto the weapon. Just because I always want it to go face, so I'm not afraid of killing off this minion. Because if the Ziliax was there, I think it would have come down last turn.
I think that's what I'm more thinking about. I was thinking more on the mindset of trade or go face, but obviously if you give me a third choice, Derek there now, I'm considering. Tyler going to do the trading for him though, which is weird because all I see is like
One. Ziliak's coming off the
minus
top.
4 damage.
Good thing he killed it.
Unity, precision, perfection.
That's a good joke.
I find me funny, alright.
Someone's got to. Now there's follow-up though for Tyler as well. He can do the Eviscerate now into the SI7H.
Yeah, he's really just trying to dump his hand as quick as possible to set up for Ziliak. So this turn, relatively inefficient.
Mummy sap
Who
next
cares?
turn. Really put on the pressure.
Sure. It's not that bad. I mean, against this, okay, it's pretty bad.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is it ever sap?
Just to clear a card out of hand.
I mean, it gives Flurry a bad card, right? And he doesn't take 5?
It's just if you think it's good next turn. And the thing is, so if you, even if he knew that there was Dino Tamer Bran in hand, I think he might still go for the sap here. Because next turn, if he's playing Myra's, he does not have 2 mana spare.
Right, yeah. And also for me, the only reason the sap would be better next turn is if Houndmaster comes down. If Houndmaster comes down, you just took extra damage for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, just give him a bad card. Here we go.
It's the turn. Kept right from the start. I would argue correctly. And does now mean he has one last-ditch effort to
then.
get there.
That is some damage.
I'm out of cards.
This is a lot of
I
damage.
bet he wishes he had 1 more mana. He could swing, re-equip pick, and then play both Corsairs.
Is this lethal if he goes... Oh, no, because he can't swing. Because I was thinking he could go South Sea Deckhand, swing,
Re-dagger. You think?
re-dagger.
Yeah.
Not enough mana here.
Well, Poison goes to 6. Deckhand is another 2. Could he just do this anyway? 8, 9, 10,
Well,
11.
he probably doesn't want to swing with the weapon on this turn, right? Because he wants to go Life Drinker, swing Life Drinker next turn.
He needs to play Dread Corsair number 2.
Yes,
And that's
absolutely.
just true. There's too much damage on the board.
So it's probably Dread Corsair, Miscreant? Or Dread Corsair,
Abyss.
Deckhand Abyss, all face.
I think some damage needs to go face right now.
okay. Given that he's seen Ziliax, as long as he doesn't die, he just wins.
Wait, is it explosive? He's not probably
I can't
explosive.
remember,
Was it
honestly.
explosive?
It
going
does
crazy.
nothing. Oh, because it's Rat Trap. It's Rat Trap.
Oh.
He can't proc it.
Oh, look at Tyler. Look how important this win is.
So he just leaves it off because he knows that he would just die.
He procs the... Yeah, 100%
It would
right,
just
yeah.
be lethal. Yeah, yeah. So this was obviously absolutely correct. Well, actually, not necessarily, actually, because if he'd played the Dread Corsair, maybe that would have protected him. Because as it currently stands, if there was a Rat Trap on the board and no other minions on Tyler's side of the board, Unleash the Beast hero power ends the game. But obviously, if there was another Dread Corsair in play, that wouldn't end the game. So maybe Tyler would have been able to play that and launch extra damage face and survive.
So it's what, 1 fatigue for Tyler next
I
turn?
don't know.
So then Unleash helps clear. 8 goes to 13, 15, 16. He can put Tyler to 1. With the fatigue, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, but he knows he might die. I don't think he's got a choice.
He's got to hope it
He has
gets there.
to punch through.
And then I
Unless
think
he
he's
could
just gonna
Hyena
die.
kill command the 3/3 and just go face.
Yeah.
There's a few things he could do here. But frankly, Flurries could make any play you want, do this, and it all comes down to Tyler either kills me this turn or I win. And that's what this game has come down to. And I believe, unless my mind is playing tricks on me, that's just lethal, because that is
do
a
it.
ton of damage.
Yeah, well over here for Tyler.
Oh, 4! 7-6. Generous Mummy. MVP.
What a tense end to the game there. And with Rogue there as well, the slightly off-meta pick, undeniably, for Tyler. It does mean, of course, that he is able to get the win. And going up to 7 and 6 now, he's in with really good chances of getting through to playoffs.
Yeah, sorry guys, we've just lost our sound, so just give us a second to fix this. Oh, there we go. I think we're back. Okay, cool. Sorry, we just
Yeah.
We just had a bit of a sound issue there, so we couldn't hear anything at all, but we're okay now as I just slightly adjust the volume so I don't deafen Derek. But yeah, apologies about that. Tyler does take the win there versus Flurry. Very close game, as he said, and fair enough to Flurry. His last play didn't really make much difference as to what it was because he didn't have lethal. It came down to Tyler has lethal or he doesn't. And with only the rat trap on the board, a great secret overall, but not if your opponent can just not care about a minion. Imagine if it had Taunt. Best card in the game by a mile.
It would be insane. But for Tyler there, I think it was honestly a pretty good play at the end there. It was very, very difficult as to how he played around the rat trap. And I think we don't have to hypothesize around it. We have him on the line, as I'm doing your job here, to talk about his plays. Tyler, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. It was so scary.
That was a tough play. What was going through your head there at the end with that last turn?
I was like, was there a line where I could like proc rat trap and clear enough? Like, would that have been better? And I went through all the options and there wasn't, right? I just had to hope he doesn't have a way to kill me. And like, there was no way I could proc rat trap because then I have like 3 mana left over to clear something, and then I don't have damage, and like I just die. So I just had to hope he doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
And we had information on 2 cards in his hand, right? It was like the one I sapped and another rush guy. So yeah, it was like good odds for me that he just couldn't kill me, I think.
Yeah, I think we went through the same as saying, does the extra Corsair protect you enough? But it would have just been you factually just put more damage on the board anyway. But yeah, that was tense. I just want to ask, like, how are you feeling going into this weekend? Because it went from maybe not the best start in the world for you at the start of the season to now you're just easily in contention for top 4. Has it really ramped up for you prepping for this week, knowing you could make top 4, which then has a knock-on effect to making the global finals?
Yeah, it was insane. Like, I prepped specifically for Flurry. I saw that he brought Zoo a lot, so that's why I didn't bring Druid. He didn't bring Zoo this week, so it didn't matter. But Rogue ended up being good enough. Like, I didn't want to queue Rogue when there was still Warrior, but like when there was Shaman and Hunter left, I felt pretty comfortable playing Rogue.
So that's one of the things that we were actually talking about, is that I feel like Rogue was missing for so long because obviously it's bad against Warrior, but people were also saying it was kind of bad against like Druid and Shaman as well. Do you agree? Is it just the Warrior that the Rogue loses to? And what were you bringing it for?
You lose to Druid and Warrior, so my strategy was just that if those are out of the way, then I can just safely queue it. Because like, you beat Hunter, I was expecting Zoo, so you beat Zoo, and I think against Shaman, I think Rogue is slightly favored. Not by a lot, but like maybe like 52, 53%. So I felt okay queuing it into both the last decks. Like, I felt much more comfortable queuing Rogue than Priest in the end.
Yeah, and without getting too much into specific outcomes of many matches and tiebreakers and all that stuff, just after this win now, are you just feeling confident for the rest of the weekend and for your chances at getting to top 4 playoffs?
Yeah, I feel super good. I mean, I'm playing against 212, right? So my chances are good.
Also known as Blood Trail, for those of you who don't know. But yeah, I mean, Surrender did just lose, though.
He did.
So you got to be careful. Be careful.
Like, honestly, like, I could just easily lose. Like, this could just backfire and people are going to clip this and I could easily lose.
And we will.
I think my chances are above average, to be honest. Again.
Okay, well, great job today, and good luck for the rest of the weekend. We may or may not speak to you the rest of the weekend, but good luck anyway, and all the best. Okay, so I kind of just like to ask, I'm playing someone with not a great score, so I'm feeling good. You do know he just won, right? That's a good point. I might lose.
I love how he didn't even say I'm playing against someone with a 212 record. I'm playing again't 212. That's his name now.
That's a name now. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Brutal.
Savagery here in Grandmasters. No, but I actually like Tyler's play. I feel like we talked to you especially have talked a lot all season about Tyler's ups and down moments, but I feel like that felt more like solid Tyler, and even the fact that he got up, stood behind his chair, tense to win a game where we're not talking about relegation. He's safe, he's fine, but it's more, I can make playoffs. And I think we see a bit more of the drive back in Tyler, even just today.
That's exactly it, mate. That's what I want to see from Tyler. It's not even necessarily that I want to see incredible play from him, because I feel like he's never been the best player in the world, in my opinion, but he has been always one of the hardest working, most driven players. And seeing him actually enjoy the game, putting the practice in, and feeling the high stakes here yet again, it really makes me excited to see him play and potentially get to that very best, at least in Asia Pacific, that he can definitely head towards.
Yeah, well, Flurry did take the loss as well there. So as we said, tomorrow and especially on Sunday, we'll be able to give you much more in-depth breakdowns of who wins what, where, and when, and how, and who gets into playoffs and who might not. But for now,